Okay. Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon. Hello, and thank you for joining the webinar today. So we are going to give folks another moment to log in, and we will be starting soon. Okay. Okay, so I think it's already 11:01. So let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 Better Building Summer Webinar Series, dedicated to bringing you the latest actionable insights from leading industry experts. This annual series is a chance to explore the topics, technology, and trends that affect your organization, as well as efforts to accelerate decarbonization and energy efficiency option. Next slide. Next slide. Yes, so again, my name is, so this is today's webinar is called Enhancing Building Envelope Performance with the Building Envelope Campaign. So before we dive in, there are a few housekeeping points I would like to cover. So please note, today's webinar will be recorded and archived to the Better Building Solutions Center. We'll follow up when today's recording and slides are made available. So next, the attendees are in listen-only mode, meaning your microphones are muted. So if you experience any audio or visual issues throughout the webinar, please send a message in the Q&A box, and that's located on the bottom of your Zoom panel. Next slide. Hi. So my name is Mahavir Bhandari, and I am your moderator today. So I'm a researcher at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and I lead the Building Envelope campaign. So next slide, please. Oh, sorry, please. Yeah, so sorry. So let's go to our agenda today. And what am I doing? So we'll have an introduction. We'll introduce the which we did recently, and we'll highlight. We'll have a better building envelope campaign introduction from Dean, and he will introduce himself later. And then we will have highlights from this year's awardees. As you know, building envelope campaign is year 2 of the 3 years of the campaign, and we'll highlight this year's award winners. And we'll have a speaker's presentation. We have a great team of the people who have really worked in the field and have a great knowledge of building envelopes. They will be speaking, and we will have question, answer, and conclusions. Next slide, please. So yeah, I would like you to go to slido.com and using the event code DOE. And you can open on your mobile devices or on the side of your web browser on your computer. So our poll question is today, what sector best describes your organization? Yeah, so if you are there, please type in. We have some results coming here. Lots of local government, contractors, healthcare. Wow, so we're pretty much, yeah, please keep coming and assigning. So non-profit or non-government organization is 20%. We have several contractors and consultants. I'm glad to see that there are industrial folks here and utilities are coming, healthcare, multifamily. We have some K-12 schools here, retail, food and grocery, and hospital is not yet. So yeah, mostly non-profit or government organizations. But thank you everyone for joining. And we're glad that so many different sectors are represented today. So non-profit still on the top, followed by contractors or consultants, local government, industrial, multifamily, and higher ed. Okay, thank you. Next slide. So we have we have excellent slate of presenters today. So we will start with Dean Stanberry, and Dean, please introduce yourself, and I'll request other people to introduce themselves when your turn comes. Next slide. Okay, Dean, please take it away.
Okay, Anna, if you could unmute me on my video, that would be great.
We can hear you.
Yeah, it's by the host. Oh, there we go. Thank you. All right, so I think we should be able to see me now. Thank you. So I am Dean Stanberry. I'm chairman of the board for IFMA, which is the International Facility Management Association. And IFMA is one of the organizing sponsors of the Building Envelope Technology Campaign, alongside the American Institute of Architects, or AIA, and the International Institute of Building Enclosure Consultants. So as professional associations, trade associations, we all felt that this was an important campaign to support, funded by DOE and led by Oak Ridge National Labs. This is the second year of the campaign, and this is the recognition of the second year's awards. So talking about what the Better Building Envelope campaign is, it's actually part of the Better Buildings Technology campaigns. This is something that DOE funds, and there's many of them out there. There's other ones like the Energy Management Information System, and ones like that are all designed to help improve building performance and efficiency. This one was interesting to me. The Building Envelope Technology campaign seeks to really improve the performance of the building envelope itself. Those of you that have been involved in sustainability for some time now probably understand that all of the low-hanging fruit has already been picked. We've already gone through and changed out to LED lights and other things that can help us. Now we're at a point where if we don't start looking at some of these harder items, like, is the building really sealed? Do you really have enough insulation on the cladding of the building, as well as the windows, the fenestration in the formal terminology? You're going to be letting out a lot of that energy, or letting it in one way or another, and the building will not perform as well as a result. So the Building Envelope Technology campaign sought to have an easy way to determine what is your current performance of your building based on age and square footage and type of construction and things like that. And then what are the things that you can do? And then for those buildings and companies that signed up to participate as part of the campaign, we wanted to give the recognition. And this is the second year that we've gone through and given recognition for those awards. So mainly the campaign is to motivate action and increase awareness, to recognize industry leaders, and then to demonstrate and document how these things are done. The campaign itself, again, started out with funding from the DOE. Oak Ridge Labs then went about studying the problem to say, okay, how can we actually put together some tools that can help an individual or a company understand how their building is performing today without doing, expensive evaluations and things like that? Is there a way that we can give a pretty good estimation of what how the building is performing, and then give an estimation of, if you were to do these modifications or these improvements, what would it do for that improvement? And that's what they accomplished. If you go to the Building Envelope Technology campaign website, you can actually use the tool. You can sign up as a participant, and then go in and use the tool to see where you sit today. And getting into the recognition, there are several tiers. We started off with the retro tier. So basically like retro commissioning, you're going back and trying to make improvements, maybe to bring the building back to its original performance, but because building envelopes, leakage can develop over time. Might not have had the best, exterior materials at the time, or the best window treatments at the time. So anything you can do there. So there was a retro 30, meaning that you had a 30 to 49% improvement in performance of the building enclosure. Retro 50 was 50% or more. Novel, which is really looking at improvements, and this is new construction or retrofits, by the way, is going after it in maybe a different way, looking at some new or interesting ways of improving the building performance. So we had a novel category, novel 20, which is 20 to 39% improvement in performance, and novel 40, which is 40% or more improvement. Role models was another category, and one was for a technology role model. So deployment of novel or innovative building technologies or systems. And then we also had one in equity and energy role models. So this is improvements in a structure that impact underserved communities. Are we improving the equity of multifamily or other things that are there to serve the underserved communities? And then we had the honorable mention, those that were making positive impact, but maybe did not reach one of these particular goals. For the year 2 campaigns, we had 15 submissions overall. They were kind of scattered about the US. Some were in the Northwest, some in more of the midsection of the country. And then we had Southeast and a little bit in the Northeast. And let's see, and then whereas in the past we had some other ones in that. The performance and recognition for year 2, we had 2 million square feet of conditioned space that was submitted, and for an annual savings of 13 million kBTUs for the total building, attributed just to building envelope performance. 10 buildings were recognized for achieving energy savings targets, and 3 honorable mentions, and 1 for energy and equity. To start off with, for the Retro 30, we have the Shenandoah Valley Elementary School. And then for Retro 50, we have the James A. Haley Veterans Administration Hospital. We'll hear more on that a little bit later. For new construction, we have the Novel 40 and Energy and Equity. So Laurentide Apartments achieved a 60% building envelope performance improvement, and that was through wall insulation, going from an R20 to an R36 rating, roof insulation going from an R30 to an R80 rating, windows, a U factor going from the 0.42 to 0.23, and SHGC, we just had this earlier. I don't remember that particular acronym, and many of us probably would not, but that is another window category of performance, and it went from 0.23 to 1.17. Then air leakage went from around 0.4 to 0.02. So that's per square feet. That's a pretty good improvement as far as leakage and performance. And we have a list. This is something we will make available to the award or the attendees later. But yeah, we have a total. We have Shenandoah Valley School as a Retro 30, Parkway West Middle School, Retro 30. Barrett's Elementary School as a Retro Honorable Mention. Pacific Tower Data is a Retro Honorable Mention. The NC Environmental Quality Biochemistry Labs is a Retro 50 awardee. James A. Haley, Veterans Administration, received a Retro 50 for a number of buildings. Their main building, research building, community living center, radiation therapy building, specialty clinics, and administrative annex. So this is an entire campus that went through and did a retrofit. The Charlie Norwood VA Medical Center received an honorable mention for retro, And then last but not least, the Laurentide Apartments received a Novel 40 Award and the Energy Equity Award. So with that, let's move on to our next presentations. I believe we're going to be hearing from, no, we're going to do some short videos. So we did have some videos submitted, and then we will do a presentation from Veterans Administration. So Anna, go ahead and play this video.
Yeah, I'm Rick Dunn, Senior Product Manager in Building Envelope for the Northwest Energy Efficiency Alliance. 915 Broadway is a typical office building in the Northwest. It's a 4-story building. They were experiencing challenges with thermal comfort near the perimeter of the building, and that was one of the main drivers of them investigating window solutions. The building owner and the maintenance company had investigated replacing those windows and found it to be cost prohibitive. Through relationships that they had with BPA and their local utility, Clark PUD, they became aware of alternative solutions, secondary window attachments. At that point, NEA became involved and started to walk them through the process of what these technologies look like, how they work, what they cost, and what benefits they return in terms of both energy and non-energy benefits. And it became immediately clear that they were able to address the thermal comfort issues with secondary windows at a fraction of the cost of replacing the primary windows. They had windows replaced in the building in the summer of 2021. This preceded our heat dome event by about a month or so. During the course of that heat dome, the temperature at the perimeter of the building was maintained within about 1 degree set point of the thermostat, which demonstrated the ability of the products to maintain thermal comfort throughout the building, even under the most challenging of situations. It was an untraditional submission for the Building Envelope campaign in that the cost of the project relative to the energy savings is lower than what you see for most typical submissions. What made this unique and also appreciate that the Building Envelope campaign recognized was that this was a relatively low lift project. It didn't require an invasive retrofit of the building. It was able to be done quickly without disruption to the tenants and immediately return benefits for both energy savings as well as non-energy benefits. So the combination of all of those benefits to the building owner without having to open up the facade was a pretty compelling story, and believe that it can set a good case study for other buildings suffering from similar challenges. And you do get the energy savings on the back end, even if that's not the main driver of the program to begin with. The benefit of the Building Envelope campaign to NEA and our market transformation efforts is that one of the challenges of windows in general, and certainly secondary window attachments, is lack of market awareness that they exist as a potential solution. So the Building Envelope campaign has been valuable in that it's created awareness for the market, and it's also helping us recruit participants for future projects.
Okay, I believe next we're going into the Veterans Affairs. With that, I believe we're okay. No, do we have a video for the Veterans Affairs?
Yes.
Greetings, Justin Ahern here in Tampa, Florida at the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital, and I'm here to discuss with you the Building Envelope campaign awards and the efforts here at the VA to reduce our overall electric and solar heat gain here at our facility. The main effort that we've conducted here at the campus is Cool Roof Technologies. We're implementing net zero mandates from the federal government, Executive Orders 14008 and 14057, the FAR 36.104 policy for the environment. We're looking to push CO2 reduction, energy savings, reduced heat island, and waste reduction. One of the products that we used on a majority of our campus was our re-roof campaign, and that was single ply TPO with insulation to buildings. One of the goals of putting these cool roofs on our facility was to reduce our energy demand, both in kilowatt hours of electricity use, to reduce our preventive maintenance costs, less HVAC cycle times, and reduce the heat island effect of our campus for the surrounding areas and for surrounding our buildings. One product that we chose on one of the buildings that we didn't re-roof, there's several buildings on campus that don't need to be re-roofed, and one of our main objectives is to reduce waste and also reduce risk when we're removing these roofs so that we don't impact the facilities. The rubber emulsion multiple part system that we used has a 800% elongation, no VOCs, fully seamless, fully bonded, self-leveling. It's comprised of the roofing material, which can be a number of different roofing materials, is why it's so beneficial. It can go on top of modified, it can go on top of older aggregate coated roofs, it can go on top of metal roofs, concrete decking, all sorts of components. And the features of this is it's UV stable, low VOCs, elastomeric. As we can see, it returns back to its shape. It's topped with a primer, a UV stable silicone that's 100 times thicker than industry standard at 40 mils thick. It's inorganic, doesn't break down. Other roofs have petroleum-based products. So if you have any roof water ponding or anything on your roof, it will deteriorate. The choice that we made was to go with a product that even if there was some roof ponding, the roof would be around for a long time. Doesn't degrade when water's ponding on it, is a good thing. In closing, I'd like to mention that when you're selecting your materials, look for NDL warranties for material and labor. Look for systems that meet or exceed federal guidelines and industry standards. Products that are third-party rated or approved. Third-party ratings are mandated in building codes and government directives. Look for roof systems manufactured by a single company so you don't mix and match products and potentially void the warranty. Follow building codes and ASHRAE climate zone maps for your area. If you want more information or any market research about the products and projects that we did here in Tampa, please contact me on my email, justin.ahern2@va.gov. Thanks so much, and good luck with your energy efficiency projects, and good luck with your future endeavors at your facilities.
Okay, next it looks like we have a presentation from Laurentide Apartments.
Hello, I'm Kathy Byers, Senior Vice President for Real Estate Development at Evernorth. Evernorth is a nonprofit housing developer and syndicator working across Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. In our 30-plus year history, we have raised over $1 billion in equity capital for affordable housing. And within the Vermont borders, we have constructed or renovated over 7,000 apartments for LMI households. Laurentide Apartments is part of the Cambrian Rise community, a mixed-income new neighborhood perched above the shores of Lake Champlain. Our affordable apartments are located right next door to market-rate apartments and condos. Laurentide Apartments received 2 awards this past fall from the Better Building campaign. One is the Novel 40 Award, and we also won the first ever Energy Equity Award. We address the transportation energy burden of our residents by locating our housing in a walkable neighborhood with access to robust public transit, adjacent to the beautiful Burlington bike path, and by providing EV charging. We address the heating and cooling energy burden of our residents by not only investing in the thermal shell, but by also including the cost of heating and cooling in tenant rent. This allows us to connect our 100 kW PV array on the roof to the house meter. By doing so, we align the incentive for the building owner to invest in the thermal shell. In other words, as the owner, we are fully vested in keeping down the cost of the heating and cooling. We are very proud of our building envelope performance. We achieved an EUI of 41.5 kBTU per square foot before the solar offset. We achieved an air tightness of 0.012 cmF50 per square foot, which is 20% of the passive house standard. Our high performance building included an R60 roof and garage ceiling and an R32 walls. But the real key to the performance of the thermal shell is the attention to detail in air sealing, as documented in the drawings and as supported by what we call the ecosystem of our team, including our architect, Duncan Wisniewski Architects, and our contractor, HP Cummings, who completely signed on to our aggressive air sealing goal. Trust but verify is also essential to air sealing, which included a site super who literally walked around with binoculars, observing the flashing details and making sure it was done correctly. We are grateful for the recognition of the Better Envelope campaign, and we will continue on this path for all of our new construction buildings. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we have Parkway School District, which represents Shenandoah Valley, Barrett's Elementary, and Parkway Middle School.
Parkway School District of Missouri is recognized for improving energy performance in 3 of their schools. The 3 schools are Shenandoah Valley, Barrett's, and Parkway Middle School. Parkway District was not able to provide a video, so I am going to highlight on the details of the improvements they have provided. The first school from the Parkway School District is the Shenandoah Valley Elementary School building, and this is a 1-story building that earned a Retro 30 certification for 38% energy performance improvement. Shenandoah Valley Elementary had its roof insulation improved from R8 to an R30, and this was the primary contributor to an overall energy performance of 30% of the entire building. In addition to the roof, they also improved double pane windows and solid exterior doors with no glazing and a 25 kilowatt rooftop solar array. The second school in the Parkway School District was the Barrett's Elementary School, and this is also a single-story brick facade building, and it earned a Retro Honorable Mention with 24% energy performance improvement. Barrett School building received double pane glass windows, and its roof insulation improved from R13 to R30. Additionally, a modified bitumen roof surface was added, and Barrett's also received a 25 kilowatt solar array that is installed on the roof, and its thermal performance was just under 30%, hence it's only an honorable mention. The third school building in the Parkway School District was the Parkway West Middle School, and this is also a 1-story building, and this earned a Retro 30 certification for 30% energy performance improvement. Parkway West Middle School improved its roof energy performance from R8 to R30. They also used a cool roof surface to reduce solar gain, leading to additional improvements in thermal performance during the cooling periods. In aggregate, the thermal performance of the envelope was improved by over 30%, and in addition to the envelope improvements, the HVAC system was also upgraded to include the installation of 100 variable air volume terminal units. And in an effort to get to net zero, they also added a 25 kilowatt rooftop solar array.
Okay, next up we have the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality.
In 2022, the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality submitted for recognition for the U.S. Department of Energy's Retro 50 Building Envelope campaign. Our submission was for our biochemistry laboratory building, which is one of 3 buildings on the Reedy Creek Lab campus located in Raleigh, North Carolina. This campus was opened in 1991 and currently houses our divisions of air and water quality labs. Many of the tasks we chose to perform to reach this goal were done internally by DEQ's in-house maintenance team. Some of the projects we performed to meet our objectives were head wall sealing, The head wall is the areas where the roof deck and exterior walls meet. The entire area of 181 linear feet on both sides of the building had a 6-inch gap between the structural steel beam and roof deck. This area is often overlooked by contractors and is an area that insulation often gets removed and never put back to track down roof leaks. This gap was straight to outside exterior louvers, which were also running the length of both sides of the buildings. Back in the late 80s, when this building was designed, common practice was it was better for buildings to breathe versus be tight like today's design standards. We sealed the 6-inch gap with insulation and radiant barrier insulation board, and then foam sealed around for an airtight installation. The exhaust fans and lab hoods had open areas around the roof penetrations and were sealed using the same method as the head wall insulation. Wall outlets and light switches had open gaps around the sheetrock that was foam sealed, and insulated outlet covers were installed. There was 30 years of dirt and grime on the exterior of the building that was absorbing heat. We power washed and then resealed all the caulk joints on the cast walls. All the blinds in the building were replaced with new reflective blind. All missing pipe insulation and leaking ductwork was repaired. The water heater was insulated and had a timer installed, allowing the water heater to shut off when the building was unoccupied. We were fortunate to have a few capital projects allowing us to replace the roof with a white reflective PVC roof and replace all pneumatic building controls with new direct digital controls. State Energy Office was a key group who gave us a grant funding, allowing us to partner with Duke Energy to replace all the old T12 lighting with new LED lighting. With all these energy saving items, the building was able to reduce its energy usage by over 30% and have a CO2 reduction of 147,600 pounds. Big thanks to everyone who helped make this possible for DEQ.
All right, we want to congratulate all of the Year 2 award winners. So you can contact the Building Envelope Campaign at the URLs listed below. We have ec.ornl.gov and then envelopecampaign@ornl.gov. So again, you can still use the tools. There will not be another set of awards, but the tools and the technologies and the information from the campaign will remain available on the Building Envelope Campaign website. So next we have presentation featuring Justin Ahern, U.S. Army Department of Veteran Affairs. And I believe with you is Daryl McDonald. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, take it away, Justin.
Good morning, everyone. Put my video on for you. Mahabir, I didn't know if you were going to do the introduction, if I was going to do the introduction for myself. I know I'm going to handle Daryl's in a moment.
Okay, I can introduce you. Thank you. So, okay, Justin has been working either as a contractor or member for the federal government and military for the past 30 years. He is a former U.S. Army combat infantryman, Black Hawk helicopter pilot, and Army Medical Service Corps officer. Justin now serves as the energy manager for Tampa, Florida's James A. Haley Veterans Hospital and for Tampa Region's VA properties. Justin also co-chairs the VA Energy Engineers Advisory Board. And Justin is one of our award winners for Year 2. And second speaker with him is Daryl McDonald. He's the Marketing and Sales Director for the Government Division of Instacoat Premium Products. And IPP is a coating manufacturer based on the Oscoda, Michigan. So Daryl served in the United States Air Force from 1990 to 2014 in civil engineering squadrons around the globe. And he finishes his 30 years for federal service working for the Department of Homeland Security as a facility operations specialist and roof program manager. So I'm really glad to have one of our award winners talking about one of their products and that technology they implemented in their project. So Justin, please go ahead.
Thanks, Mahabir. I appreciate the introduction. I was the nominator for 7 of the different Build an Envelope campaign awards for the VA for year 2 of the Build an Envelope campaign. I want to thank the Build an Envelope campaign, everyone that worked with us to get recognition for this particular VA, and also for the Augusta VA in Georgia that implemented some of our our technology to try to save energy and reduce our carbon footprint, and start what we're doing to impact the VAs all around the country. The focus of my presentation today is going to be specifically on the cool roof systems, and working toward net zero and complying with all of the regulations that the VA and all the other government agencies have to comply with. I'm going to cover the benefits of some of the VA building envelope initiatives, especially when it comes to the immediate impact and reduce costs associated with roof coatings and the new built up systems that provide a number of unique and rapid results that the other approaches do not provide. I have, like Mahabir stated, I have another government corps slash military veteran with me, and we've both been working in this industry for a long time. We're advocates for doing things just like North Carolina did on their building. These are what we consider low hanging fruit opportunities that make a huge impact immediately, and they don't sometimes put the facilities at risk and involve huge capital improvements. These are the things that we think are going to be the key to doing large scale reductions in energy costs across the government sector. So to begin, here are some of the benefits to implementing a roof preservation policy that incorporates the right coatings with the right application methods. Um, with coatings, you get an immediate energy cost savings. With cool roof, providing an air barrier and a thermal loss prevention that you don't necessarily get with a lot of other solutions. As you can see in the slide, that allows us to address some roofs that have a lot of equipment on them, a lot of penetrations, roofs that I would consider to be risky because if they're occupied in their hospitals, you have to disturb some of that conduit, some of that equipment, some of those penetrations, and uh, leave the facility vulnerable to the elements. There's a CO2 reduction through correct product selection, and the resulting less HVAC cycle times is some of the benefits. There's waste reduction with coatings, 50% reduction because there's no tear off. There's construction cost savings, a third of the labor on the product. You don't need cranes, for example. There's a lot of different impacts by preservation and not just replacement. There's environmental impacts that need to be considered with the use of products that have low VOCs or coal deprived products. These both offer advantages to efficiency and application, but also put the facility at less risk, like we experienced here in Tampa when we did our TPO roofs. The glue that was initially used for the roof fumigated the building, requiring us to change to a much more expensive peel and stick TPO membrane, all of which could have been avoided had we chosen to preserve some of the roofs instead of just go for a full replacement. Um, all of these things that I'm referring to are all covered under executive orders in the FAR for their net zero goals. Next slide. We're going to be doing I'm going to be covering sustainability design, net zero climate action plans. What are the parent documents for these, and what should we all be following? They are executive orders 14005, 08, and 57. They drive climate action plans, and we are going to cover some of that information quickly. Market research. Do your due diligence and research roof system. Find what's best for you to meet your roofing needs. Cost effective solutions are an important starting point. Roof systems and product selection. What membrane do you currently have on your deck? What do you need? Will your new roof selection meet sustainability design guides? Many around the federal government are still putting black roof materials and modified on their buildings, and it's appearing in their statements of work. And I'm getting them, and Daryl's getting them sent to us all the time. Next slide. Here are the government documents slash guidance that most concerns our roofing initiatives. Executive Order 14005, Made in America, 14008, and 14057, Design Guidelines for Net Zero Facilities. These documents are parent documents to the climate action plans drafted by each agency. The FAR 36.104 policy, waste reduction, energy savings, CO2 emission reduction, low VOCs. So you want to align your product selection with these goals. Heat island effect. The EPA site has data compiled with case studies. They have interagency discussion, uh, share about the impacts of heat island effects. And I know a lot of us have seen that lately on the news when it comes to entire cities. Well, if you break the cities down to campuses like James A. Haley and the university next door, you'll see that we contribute an awful lot to the heat island effect, and so do roadways and parking lots and other things that don't involve our building systems. The Department of Energy CO2 reduction cool roof system guidelines, the EPA warm model. Type in your existing roof system and propose new membrane, and they will show you your waste reduction, CO2 reduction, and energy savings. Industry standards, what applies to your roof, CRRC, SRI values, and ASTM testing data all apply. Third-party ratings, ensure products meet third-party ratings, review technical data sheets, call the manufacturer, request information for your market research. Next slide. Market research questions that we all should have. This is where we try to verify products and systems meet agency goals, and it's sometimes pretty complicated. Collect information on multiple systems, products, and confirm they meet or exceed the requirements for your roof. Reach out to the manufacturers reps. They live and breathe this stuff for a long time. Ask questions, talk to other agencies and your other contacts and energy engineers, and find out what they're doing, what systems they're using, because the emergent technology is always coming about, and a lot of concerns and a lot of mistakes made, like I talked about glue and fumes and things being sucked into active buildings. I mean, they'll tell you stories about what they would have done differently. Some systems may stipulate LED or green, but what products? Is an adhesive used for bonding that is higher than VOC limits? Is it hot applied and expels CO2 during the application and years after? Call that off gassing. Again, is the system selected meeting EO and FA and FAR requirements? Is the system installed by certified manufacturer applicators? Is there a warranty that'll work for your needs? Workers can conduct maintenance without voiding the warranty. Is there a no dollar amount option that covers both the labor and the material? Next slide. Questions you may have regarding compatibility with existing roof systems. This and perceived lack of warranty are reasons why a lot of agencies have concerns about coatings, overlays, or new emergent technologies and systems. They're concerned about it lasting, and they're concerned about having a warranty for the money that they're spending on it. This might sound obvious, but if you don't know the building codes, net zero goals, or existing roof deck, you could select an inferior product or a product that's just completely incompatible. Verify systems can be applied to your roof with net zero benefits. An example, if you have a modified bitumen roof cap sheet, you can install a single ply membrane that's not a building code compliant system. With an overlay, you don't have to meet a new installation requirement. There's a whole bunch of inspection requirements and everything else that just don't apply because you're adding it to the existing roof system that's already grandfathered in. It's a preservation technique. This tear off new thicker ISO board project can exceed funds available. An overlay provides a choice when you don't have the funds and you don't have the ability to do your whole campus, for example, or your whole complex of buildings. Conducting proper market research will answer most of these questions and ensure you're installing the best option to meet net zero goals. There are multiple options for cool roof, but each one has their own benefits, and these can be specific to your cool roof deck. Next slide. Uh, a disclaimer about what the VA selected. There's many products up there by many suppliers in your area. Not all are built up systems. We selected a cool roof system manufactured by Instacoat Premium Products that met our following requirements. This is the type of emerging technology with roofing system that allows for rubber emulsion with an 800% elongation property of expansion and contraction. This is a base coat of elastomeric rubber. It's self-healing, self-sealing. If cut or punctured, it seals around the penetration or sliced area. Cold applied liquid monolithic seamless systems, no hot permit requirements, no safety concerns or fire or specialty tools, fully bonded to the existing roof structure, no air gaps, AHRAE climate zone compliant. It's a UV stable product, no or low VOC below established limits. All membrane products meet this goal. Cool Roof Rating Council rated product on top, which is silicone, which was UV stable, high solid silicone, 2 times thicker than industry standard. Single ply membranes of 20 mils and IPP products is 40 mils. The energy cost savings, it's a third less construction cost on average, meets California emissions. Warranties that work, an NDL option, manufacturer inspection, and certified installers. Seamless liquid applied systems are monolithic, so there's no seams to fail, which in penetrations and seams seem to be the most water intrusion susceptible points of a roof. This avoids that completely. It reduces the heat island effect, the energy cost savings, less air handling unit cycle times, less CO2 emissions is what that means, less electricity use. Cool roof systems can reduce surface temperatures up to 60 degrees across the roof deck. Waste reduction, no tear off, no added labor, demolition, or safety concern with demo. EMR ratings are not affected by the demo. The AHRAE 90.1 compliant, third party rated, CRC rated, EPA DOE goals met, EO and FAR net zero goals met as well. Next, I'll let Mr. McDonald from Instacode speak about the specific system, which is being used widespread in the industry from companies like General Motors to Gillette in Boston today. Just a really a different option to what has been our standard options of just re-roofing in the past. So I'll turn it over now to Daryl. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. My name is Darrell McDonald. I'm just going to cover a few slides, some of the information that Justin and I already touched on for cool roof systems, liquid applied coatings, which is going to cover overlay and recover, not to be confused with a re-roof where they actually tear off the actual membrane. A little background, I did 25 years in the Department of Defense, civil engineering, facility management, and then I finished up another 5 in civil service with Department of Homeland Security, all in facility management. When I retired, I picked up a job with Instacoat Premium Products, basically taking over the government sector as far as their cool roof ratings, all their coatings, aligning their product solution with the government sector need. So I'm going to jump into the slides here. As Justin stated, this was a liquid cold applied, no tear off. It's an overlay or a recover. Having some technical difficulty here, just a second. Okay, the VA decks that we looked at were single ply, TPO, mod bit, and BUR. Flat roofs, less than 312 pitch. The IPP systems can be applied on steeper roof slopes, but for this presentation, we're just going to cover flat roofs. The VA wanted products that met executive orders, FAR requirements for sustainability, net zero initiatives, covering CO2 reduction, waste reduction, energy reduction, and overall cost savings. They also had requirements for third-party ratings, SRI values that were rated products, Cool Roof Rating Council. You can go on their website and pull up a product manufacturer, and it'll pull up the SRI values that you're looking for. Industry standards such as ASTM testing, ASHRAE, UL, FM. They wanted the third-party ratings, so when they contacted me, I can pull up tech data sheets on the IPP product lines that they're looking at and provide those for them for their product review. Next slide. The product selection, compatibility with your roof system, what's best for your particular deck, whether it's metal, BUR, mod bit, single ply. You need to figure out exactly what system you have, what's compatible with it when you review these products. You want to meet the building code requirements and net zero goals. These are all questions that you'll have with your market research as you review all these different products to find the best one for your particular roof deck. Looking at the roofs, if it's an ongoing issue with seams or penetrations, which is usually where most of your leaks are, putting the same system back on doesn't make much sense because you're going to have the same problems over the next 20 years. That's why the seamless systems have become a lot more popular over the last decade, because they don't have any seams. The expansion contraction, 800% elongation factor with the rubber emulsion. So all the seams, detail work around equipment, rooftop units, HVAC, parapet walls, everything's reinforced with fabric it's embedded into the rubber. So expansion contractions aren't a concern compared to the standard roof systems. Those standard systems are usually an organic based membrane, and those membranes break down in ponding water. So if a concern on your deck, you have a flat roof and you have ponding issues that you're not looking at, silicone doesn't break down in water. That's why over the last 10, 15 years, you've seen more silicone roof decks being put on. It's UV stable, doesn't break down in water compared to the other products, which I have some pictures we'll get into next. Next slide, please. These next few slides are going to show the application process over mod bit or cap sheet. And these systems can be spray applied or roller applied, as you can see in the photos. It's cured in place, so it forms to the roof dynamics on your particular deck. When you use the spray application, that's an insta-set. So you can spray it on parapet walls, as you can see in that top photo. It's instantly set as soon as it's sprayed on and cures in place. The full removal, if you're getting into tearing off your roof, you're going to have demolition, you're going to have construction waste, you're going to have dust and environmental concerns, extra labor cost, overhead work with cranes. You might have to shut down operations in that actual facility or move that work to another building. You don't have to do that with the overlay systems because there's no construction or demolition being carried out with an overlay. And you're also on average saving a third of the cost compared to the regular roof removal. So your roof removal could also require raising curbs, drains, scuppers, or adding more ISO board. This is going to add significant project costs. So when you're looking at your roof, you do your inspections, you have leaks throughout the years that you've tracked. If you have 2-3% of your roof that has a leak, why would you remove 100% of your roof? It doesn't make any sense. You can fix what you have in place, you can restore it, put a brand new system on it, a brand new membrane, and extend that roof life cycle out with warranted back products. The overlay systems with that new membrane, you have a 20-year warranty. The possibility is if you're putting silicone on there, you can actually extend it out 25 and 30 years with the IPP overlay system. So you keep track of all your records, you have the warranty in place, NDL, whatever warranty you went with, and you're going to extend this out up to 30 years. NDL warranties, hail zone warranties, material warranties, any product that you're looking at, you want to make sure that you get certificates of these warranties, review them before you select a product and have them clarify what can be used, what can't be used with their systems, who can fix the system. It should be inspected by the manufacturer's rep. So before you even get the warranty, they should be on site looking at these. Next slide. This is some detail work being done on a parapet wall and around a rooftop unit exhaust system there. These pictures show transitions, seams being treated with reinforced fabric and rubber emulsion. This is your typical leak points across a roof deck. So you want to treat these areas. And that rubber that you see them putting on has 800% elongation properties, over 1,000% tensile strength. So traditional products are rated usually between 100 and 500. When you conduct your market research, ask the manufacturer for their tech data sheets, review and compare products, and find the best solution for your particular deck. Next slide. These are some pictures of drains. You can see in these pictures, they're fully bonded into the membrane. This is on top of a TPO deck. That top spline inside the drain, it can be coated with rubber because the rubber bonds to metal as well. So that entire area will have fabric embedded into the rubber and top coated with silicone, providing a leak-free system across that whole. There was probably 36 different drains across these decks, and half of them had leak issues where the TPO had rotted or the seams had popped open. Next slide. There's some more detail work across seams. You can see in that left-hand picture, thousands of linear feet of seams across cap sheet. When you look at this, you can figure if you have to go inspect this roof and you have leaks throughout it, you have to inspect every square inch of those seams. So bonding that rubber, you can see the black rubber being bonded onto it. It's going to be a seamless system. The whole thing is going to be coated. It's going to be monolithic pour with a cool roof rated product on top. On the right-hand side, you can see there's a little gray area. That's the primer. And then the white is the silicone they're finishing up on, coating it with the energy savings, cost savings compared to tearing off that entire deck. They just did an overlay system and didn't have to worry about any of those issues. Next slide. This is the SRI value that Justin was talking about earlier. SRI values, you want to go onto the Cool Roof Rating Council website. You can pull up products, manufacturers, and find out what the SRI values are. That's a third-party site that provides oversight on cool roof products. DOE Energy Star Rating Program, which you've probably heard of over the last few decades, they removed products, roofing products, in June of 2022. So there's no roof products rated under Energy Star anymore, but you can look at CRRC and pull up the products through their page. If you're looking at LEED or LEED Silver, there's minimal SRI requirements. You can reach out to the manufacturer, whoever you're dealing with, request their third-party ratings, and make sure they meet the standards that you have, whether it's executive order, FAR, or LEED program. Next slide. This is temper variance here. You can see a 46-degree difference. On the right-hand side, it's the silicone. On the left is shingles, and this silicone transitioned underneath those shingles, maybe about 18 inches up the slope. This was taken out in San Diego, which doesn't have real heat waves or, the climate zones throughout the country. You can go to other places that have heat waves and the temperature differences for the heat island effect. The reduction compared with the cool roof, you got 96 on the silicone. That the shingle side up on top, different areas had HVAC units. The HVAC units that were down on the silicone were coming on like a third less, where the other ones on the other side of the building, where they had cap sheet and mod bit, they were cycling on and off throughout the entire day, which is going to add to the heat island effect for continuous HVAC demand and extend energy demands after hours. So people are going home at 5 o'clock, but those HVAC units will keep cycling on and on till 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, depending on where you are. So you have increased energy cost and just more wasted dollars and CO2 emissions because those units are turning. Reducing those rooftop temperatures is key to saving on energy costs, and that's going to meet your executive orders and all your different FAR requirements. Next slide. This is a picture of failed TPO. It's a TPO are your single plies, PVCs, EPDMs. Those are organic based top coats, so they break down over time and expose water, or if it's continued immersion. This is a picture up next to a scupper, so it had ponding water there. The picture shows the top 20 mils of TPO that has failed and is basically gone. That's your UV stable product. The other two coats underneath it, which makes up your 60 mils, you have like a rubber base and then a scrim or the fabric, the other 40 mils, but those aren't UV stable. So once that 20 mils of TPO top is gone, those other layers start breaking down. And in this instance, this roof, they had probably 9 or 10 scuppers that looked like this, and their seams were failed in any of the ponding areas because it's basically just rotting away. So silicone doesn't break down in ponding water, which is why you've seen it a lot more over the past 15 years in the industry. This system here, you figure if you have 20 mils of UV stable product with Instacoat overlays, you're going to have 40 mils. Those other 2 layers underneath your TPO is 40 mils. Instacoat has like 130. So it's 2 times the thickness, it's 2 times the protection, and it doesn't break down in water. The flat roofs, you're going to have ponding water. So having a system up there that doesn't break down in it helps a lot. And next slide. And that is all I have. I appreciate the opportunity to talk today about liquid applied coatings, cool roof systems, and I will turn it back over.
Yeah, thank you, Justin, and thank you, Daryl, for all your insightful presentations. And my apologies, we are running out of time, so we may not have time to answer the questions. So what we'll do is all the questions you have put in a question and answer session, we'll send those responses. So with that, thank you everyone for your participation, and I would again like to thank and congratulate our year 2 awardees. So this webinar was our final installment of 2023 Better Building Summer webinar series. All the webinars from the series are available to watch on demand on the Better Building Solutions Center. We look forward to seeing you all fall during the 2023-24 webinar series. Last slide, I guess. Yeah, with that, I'd like to thank our panelists very much for taking the time to be with us today. Feel free to contact our presenters directly with additional questions, or if you would like to go to your question during the period So I encourage you to follow the Better Buildings Initiative on LinkedIn and Twitter for all the latest news. And you can find that handles here. And anything you have related to building envelope campaign, all the email addresses are listed there. So once more, I thank you everyone. And with that, we close the webinar.